Rishi Sunak grapples with party rift and policy criticism amid chaotic Tory campaign. Rishi Sunak has faced a tumultuous start to the Tory election campaign, with his control over the party fraying and his policies drawing flack. On the fifth day of the race, a Conservative MP defected to Reform, while a government minister slammed the Prime Minister's national service pledge. Seeking to regain momentum after a rocky initiation, Sunak campaigned in Buckinghamshire. However, his hopes were dashed early on when Northern Ireland Minister Steve Baker denounced the National Service Plan as a bureaucratic invention that had caught candidates off guard. Baker, who is facing a Labour threat in Wickham, opted for a vacation in Greece instead of hitting the campaign trail, despite Sunak's earlier directive to MPs to book time off. The Prime Minister's woes compounded when Conservative MP Lucy Allen, representing Telford, defected to Reform, prompting the party to suspend her membership. According to the Shropshire Star, Allen retorted that she had resigned first, and the Conservatives had no chance of winning her seat. Sunak's plight deepened with criticism from Zac Goldsmith, a Conservative peer and former minister who resigned due to dissatisfaction with Sunak's environmental stance. Goldsmith accused Sunak of damaging the party almost beyond repair and expressed hope that some decent MPs would remain after Sunak's departure for California in the coming weeks. Appearing in Chesham, where the Tories lost a by-election to the Lib Dems in 2022, Sunak dodged questions about Allen's defection and Baker's criticism. However, he reacted with anger to Goldsmith's prediction that he would relocate to the U.S. if the Conservatives lost the election, vowing to remain and serve a full term as MP. "I'm surprised that Lord Goldsmith, who I don't think I've spoken to in a very long time, has some intimate knowledge of my family's arrangements," Sunak retorted. "Of course not. My kids are at school, this is my home, and as I said earlier, my football team just got promoted to the Premier League." Quote, speaking to ITV, Sunak reiterated his commitment to stay in the UK for years to come. The Prime Minister has also struggled to articulate the details of his national service policy, declining to specify the fines or incentives that would make it mandatory for 18-year-olds. One minister hinted at potential fines for parents of non-compliant children, while another party official appeared to exclude that possibility. Former Defense Secretary Ben Wallace defended the policy, suggesting that young people have minimal responsibilities. "Heaven forbid young people are made to do something," he remarked. Jonathan Ashworth, a Labour shadow cabinet minister, criticized the policy as continuing to unravel and accused the Tories of shirking responsibility to provide details about its implementation. That will not do. Rishi Sunak cannot announce the flagship policy of his general election manifesto, but then refuse to answer the most basic questions about how it will work and what it will cost, he said. On Monday, Labour leader Keir Starmer dismissed the proposal as desperate, claiming that the Conservatives were rummaging around in the toy box to find any plan they can throw on the table. He added, "I don't think it'll work. You've seen what military experts, those with experience, have said about it. You've seen what the government said about it just a few days ago when they were asked." The National Service Plan is part of the Conservative strategy to win back former Tory voters from 2019 who are now considering reform. On Monday night, the Prime Minister announced a new £100 annual tax break for pensioners, intending to appeal to older voters who had indicated a shift towards reform. However, some Conservative MPs expressed concern that the focus on potential reform voters could lead to the loss of home county seats to the Lib Dems, including Surrey Heath, where Michael Gove withdrew his candidacy on Friday. Other Tory insiders questioned the overall campaign strategy and suggested the possibility of a cabinet reshuffle less than a week into the race. Sunak's decision to launch the election campaign in the rain, which drew headlines comparing him to a drowning victim, and his visit to the Titanic quarter in Belfast, where he was asked if he was captaining a sinking ship, have been criticized as making him appear inept. The base problem is they had some things ready, like the framing and the moment they were looking for. But the operation side of things has not really been ready. The media and messaging has been all over the place. They kept it so tight, but maybe not everyone was in the room who needed to be. They just weren't quite ready enough for this, an insider confided. Another strategist blamed election guru Isaac Levito for allowing mistakes to occur and propagating a narrative of the campaign being in crisis, despite briefings that Levito had advocated for an autumn election over a summer one. A leaked internal Tory memo published in The Times revealed complaints from party staff about a lack of support from MPs and candidates for the campaign effort. Others defended the Conservative campaign, with Johnny Mercer, a Tory minister and Plymouth MP, downplaying Allen's defection as not good news, but it doesn't mean the wheels are coming off the campaign. From speaking to Times Radio, Mercer acknowledged, "I think any campaign is difficult. I think that any political party is a broad church, and you're going to have people within that organization at that time unhappy with aspects of what's going on. That's completely normal. It's disappointing. I like Lucy, but ultimately it is true that if you vote for reform, you're going to see Keir Starmer in Downing Street, and that doesn't have any sort of intellectual sense about it if you want to vote for any of the reform policies. So a vote for reform is a vote for Keir Starmer." Quote.